Hello?
Sorry.
You want to know what the list of the games you could have possibly won are?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Go
The
for
choices, the choices, which still seem to have some, keeps bouncing around. I'm not sure what the real available amount are, but the games are Prey, the newest one that came out, Hellblade: Senya's Sacrifice, Cuphead, What Remains of Edith Finch, Please Knock on My Door, Hidden Folks, Nirhogg 2, Divinity: Original Sin 2, Tooth and Tail, Slime Ranch, Hollow Knight, Mr. Shifty, Old Man's Journey, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Night in the Woods, NBA 2K18 Legend Edition Gold, Tekken 7, Project Cars 2, XCOM 2 with its DLC War of the Chosen, and Pyre. That Steam was giving out if you were watching the stream on Steam.
My God, it's an oddly shaped truck.
That it is.
What system is this game for?
I think.
N64.
It looks slightly better than the last one you were playing.
Funny, because this is an earlier game.
Okay. Weird.
Yep, we
Or
are
maybe-
back. We are back during the war between between World Championship Wrestling and the New World Order. Yeah, this is when the Hulkster went bad.
And looks slightly insane.
Also, this is after the big split happened between Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan, which resulted in NWO Hollywood, Black and White, and NWO Wolfpack, which is the red and black.
Okay. Who's group's whose? Because I'm not too familiar with the.
Okay, whose group is whose? Kevin Nash runs NWO Wolfpack, which is the red and black. Hulk Hogan runs NWO Hollywood, which is the white and black.
Fitting.
Yep. And there's a couple of other little splinter groups as well. The Latino World Order, headed by Eddie Guerrero. He headed a group of luchadors. And there was Raven's Flock, which was Raven, this degenerate guy from ECW, decided to run his own group of misfits. And then there's this fellow by the name of Sting. You may recognize him with the red face paint.
I thought that was black and white.
Well, he started off as black and white. In fact, he was a complete ripoff of what's his name, Brandon Lee in the Crow. Did you ever see The Crow with Brandon Lee?
I did.
I did see reviews of it, and I also came across a film about Sting's born-again Christianness.
Okay, picture Brandon Lee with a picture Brandon Lee with a trench coat and a baseball bat, and you have Sting.
Yeah, that was definitely.
And
correct.
occasionally bungee jumping from the rafters into the ring.
Yes,
which-
I've seen bits and pieces that
which, by the
was
way, resulted
mentioned in
in
it.
a tragedy because WWF, not to be outdone, did the same thing with a fellow by the name of Owen Hart.
I heard about that.
Oh,
Basically, he
Yes.
fell off and died.
Um, pretty much from all the different from all the different eyewitness accounts and all the different lighting rig and rigging technicians. Owen got a piece of his costume caught in the release mechanism, and trying to jerk it loose, he accidentally set himself loose, which sent him crashing headfirst into the turnbuckle from 75 feet in the air.
Ow! There's no way you can survive that.
No, in fact, he was pretty much DOA.
Ow!
In fact,
Yes.
it had to be announced live on the air that Owen Hart had passed away.
That's probably one of the saddest moments you'll ever get out of wrestling.
Yeah. All because Sting made it look so easy.
Yeah. And
I can't believe I'm laughing.
I'm not joking. There is a movie about Sting's wrestling career and becoming a born again Christian or something like that.
I saw bits and pieces of his TBN talk show. It led to a rather surreal moment. Sting and Shawn Michaels sharing a stage. Of course, Shawn Michaels was a born-again Christian at the time, so it was appropriate. But at the same time, we are talking about two superstars from two opposing organizations that have never once faced each other in the ring. So yeah. So those are not familiar with World Championship Wrestling, I'll go ahead and go down the roster here. Here's NWO Black and White, or Hollywood, if you will. There's Hollywood Hulk Hogan, and he's got 4 sets of costumes there, including the classic yellow tights. And there's him with the NWO t-shirt. The Giant, now known as the Big Show. Still reeling from his cringy storylines where he was. WCW tried to make the claim that he was the son of Andre the Giant.
That didn't go well, I'm presuming.
No. In fact, I can't remember all the details. I think Big Show was offended that he was being thrown into that type of storyline.
Your Hogan thing reminds me that I did come across. I had recently watched a video about the one-hit wonder of the guy who actually made Hulk Hogan's original theme did. Ew. Because his original theme was created by a guy named Rick Derringer, and his one hit was one called Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo.
Which him and Gene Okerlund got to sing on the Pile Driver album. Which, by the way, I managed to find it on vinyl.
How do you find a vinyl in this day and age?
Thrift stores. In fact, hang on, I'll show you.
I don't need to see. I believe you.
Oh, but I must show you. Sometimes love sounds like a fight. It sounds like an argument. It sounds just like a pile driver. Yeah! Pile driver. I just now realized the camera was not on. Oh well.
Meh.
Meh. Meh? Is that all you can say to me, Wills? Meh.
Let's just move down the list, please.
Oh.
Meh, 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 meh. Let's see what else. Who else we have today?
Meh, 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 meh.
Who else do we have?
Well, as soon as I can put the damn keyboard back down, I'll show you. Yeah, I was attempting to show the camera to Wheelgirl, and unfortunately the camera was not on, so...
You mean the vinyl that you found?
I was going to show it on camera.
Whoops.
For whatever reason, my quick switchboard was not working. I have a wireless number pad for that kind of feature. Anyway, Brian Adams, next one down the list, formerly known as Crush. This man literally was a one-hit wonder. In fact, his finisher was a heart punch. He would punch you right in the heart and it would knock you out.
Explain what you mean by him being a one-hit wonder in wrestling.
He got famous once, and that was pretty much it.
Fair enough.
Meanwhile, this guy was not exactly a main eventer, but he was the upper mid-card. I'm referring to Scott Hall. In fact, he started the Invasion, which led to the New World Order.
Which, and
formerly known as Razor Ramon. Scott Norton, not exactly famous, but definitely a tough son of a bitch. My brother loved playing as this guy, mostly because he was a tough guy. Like, oh my god, Marcus Buff Bagwell. Oh my god. He's one half of the American Mouth, and he did the other guy to join the New World Order.
Apparently also gay by the way you're acting, dude.
Well, take a look at this guy. He just looks so fabulous. He looks so buff. Oh my god. In fact, the theme song was American Mouth, American Mouth, American Mouth, American Mouth. Oh my god.
Let's move on before I get even more creeped out.
Next one, Eric Bischoff.
I hear a lot, but don't know much about.
Eric Bischoff is the man who ran WCW. Yeah, he was on-air personality. He was a guy in the broadcast booth.
In the wrestling world.
Huh?
Never mind.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. I was busy talking.
I basically say he basically did everything in wrestling.
Well, he ran WCW. He was a executive producer for a couple of Girls Gone Wild pay-per-views. He had a position in Turner Sports. And after the big buyout, he was eventually brought into the WWF to be the Raw general manager. But only as an on-air personality. He had no real power in Vince's company.
Well, Vince McMahon doesn't want anyone to share the power he has.
Not really. And this man has become so out there, he has become a meme. Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner.
What's this meme I'm not familiar with?
Go to YouTube, look up Scott Steiner math. I'm not joking. You will find probably the funniest thing ever. There's also an epic one called Scott Steiner versus the English language. It is hilarious. Anyway, NWO Wolfpack, led by Kevin Nash, Big Sexy, formerly known as Diesel, formerly known as Vinny Vegas, formerly known as Oz, as in the Wizard of Oz. Yes, he actually came to the ring as a wizard in a green robe, and the entrance was nothing but an announcer going, "Welcome to Oz, welcome to Oz," and he would have like a monkey and a midget with him. I wish I was making this up. Then of course there's Sting, the Brandon Lee ripoff.
Sorry, I wasn't really listening. I got caught up in it. Somebody did a typograph of Scott Steiner battling off Matt at the speed of claiming how little of a chance you actually have of winning.
I told you, it's a meme. Sting, formerly known as the bleach blonde bombshell or whatever it is, he was somewhat of a surfer dude. And then it became the Crow Sting. That was kind of weird. He still has that look to this day. Lex Luger, the Total Package, formerly known as the Narcissist, formerly known as the All-American Patriot Lex Luger. One thing's for sure, the dude's jacked up on whatever the hell he's jacked up on these days, and his gimmick was he just has the body of a total package.
That's vague.
This man almost needs no introduction. But if you're still new to the world of wrestling, this was the spokesman for Slim Jims.
I was about to
Slim Jim. Ooh yeah.
I would have done that if I knew how to pull that. If I could pull that off. I knew he was a Slim Jim guy. And also I'm got stuck in my head one of the early epic rap battles of history, where for some reason Hulk Hogan and Roger Randy Savage versus Kim Jong Il for some strange reason.
It is kind of strange.
That was one of their early bizarre combinations.
And finally, representing the Wolfpack. I don't know if he's just a heavy brawler, or if he has some kind of cruiserweight. Mexican superstar Conan.
No relationship to. We are not trying to ape off anything about Conan the Barbarian. Please stop trying.
Nor are we trying to ape Conan O'Brien. Now there's Raven's flock. There's Raven, formerly known as Scotty Polo, Johnny Polo.
Fail!
Yeah.
Is one of them? He's wearing a kilt.
No, he's
I think it's like a shirt that you just tie to your back, or like
flannel shirt.
That's one big shirt. Or
well, most flannel shirts were long sleeves.
yeah, whatever. Moving on.
This dude, Lodi, he was kind of like a dog in a way. He was kind of like the pet. And
Okay.
he was about as weak as a pet too.
My brain is somehow thinking his name is one letter off from the from a from a northern California city called Lodi.
Ah. The other half of the American mouth, now he has an eye patch. His name is Scotty Riggs. Oh my god, he's such an American male. He's so dreamy. Although he doesn't really talk like...
And the way the graphics look like, this guy's head kind of looks like Kurt Angle's from Escape from New York and Escape from LA.
Oh, it's kind of like Pliskin?
Yeah.
Gotcha. This other guy, I have no idea where he came from or where he went to, but he was only known as Sick Boy, and holy crap, he was...
showed up one day and then disappeared.
He was kind of a breakout superstar. People wanted great things out of this guy, and for whatever reason, he just never went anywhere.
He just seemed to appear out of nowhere and disappear out of nowhere.
No relation to yours truly. This man, at first he was known as Reese. And as Larry Sabisco, announcer, pointed out, he ain't no Peter Buttercup.
Hell, that's an obvious joke to run with a name like that.
And much later, he would have a gimmick as a German muscle man. Funny how wrestling works these days. Now for the actual WCW roster. Diamond Dallas Page. If you've ever seen Ready to Rumble with David Arquette, you would probably know this person. Diamond Dallas Page was the villain in the movie. Unfortunately, this also led to David Arquette being brought in on an episode of, I don't remember if it was Nitro or WCW Thunder, where David Arquette won the Heavyweight Championship. Diamond Dallas Page, former manager, he got his big star just by being Eric Bischoff's next-door neighbor. No, I'm not joking. Also, it kind of helped that he had a really, really hot wife that already starred in Playboy.
Okay.
Yeah. The breakout star of the late 90s, Bill Goldberg.
Oh, I remember seeing in a movie called Santa Slay where he played evil murderous Santa.
Yes, that was him. He was also in Universal Soldier 2. Goldberg was known for only one thing. Nobody could beat him.
Eventually someone did. I bet.
Eventually someone did with the use of a taser.
That's cheap.
It was cheap. The excellence of execution, Bret the Hitman Hart. Brought to WCW under rather controversial circumstances.
In what way?
He was still the World Wrestling Federation champion. Vince wanted to get the belt off him. His last pay-per-view was going to be at the Survivor Series in 1997, and it was in his home nation of Canada. Bret did not want to lose the belt in Canada because he was seen as one of Canada's greatest heroes. Bret Hart, as talented as he is, unfortunately he has a tendency to believe his own bullshit.
Is this the same guy who has a long-running meme of loving himself too much?
You may have to ask Will about that. Or Ty, or Ninja Commander, or anybody else on Hastily Kayfabe Recap. I swear I will remember the name. But yeah, Bret Hart, a 5-time world champion. Also, hey, Maze, what's up? He was a 3-time World Wrestling Federation champion. He was a 2-time WCW champion. And then Goldberg kicked him in the head, and he got like 37 concussions. Immediately, he had to. Immediately, he had to retire. And about a year or two later, he suffered a stroke while pedaling his bicycle, and he's still alive, but he's trying to be a lot more careful these days because of it. But it hasn't stopped him from hitting the gym every day. I would say good on him, trying to keep in shape even though he can't wrestle no more. Chris Benoit, I'm not sure much needs to be said.
He's probably still doing Kubla crosses wherever he is.
Cripple cross faces.
Yeah, I imagine his kid's probably around him because, gotta get a 2-for-1 deal.
I want to laugh. I do. But there are times I wonder whether there really is a hell, so I'm going to pass.
Considering the community we're a part of, I think we already are destined to go there.
I don't know. There's a... Yeah, I'll talk about it later. Rick Steiner, the other half of the famous Steiner brothers. Oh, I forgot to mention, they were a tag team. Because they were brothers from Minnesota. Both of them wrestling Caligulates. Caligulates? From the University of Minnesota.
Ooh, smart guys.
Yeah. Yeah, they got there on a wrestling scholarship, and they were legit wrestlers.
Nice. And that costume does seem to bear that out.
Well, Rick was known as the dog-faced gremlin. Not sure what the headgear was about. Something, I think it had something to do with some kind of ear problem. Anyway, Fit Finley.
Okay.
Fit Finley is he is one of the legit tough guys. He will brawl with you day in, day out and not break a sweat. In fact, when he was brought to the WWF, his entrance team actually says a true statement about him. His name is Finley and he loves to fight. He also has a decent gig training the girls.
Okay.
Well, he trains the girls how to wrestle the WWE style.
Pretty good for him, I guess.
Well, it is kind of difficult to teach the girls to do something other than hair pulling and cat fights.
Oh, well, that's what they want you to do. That's what you're stuck with.
Yeah, Finley's career kind of tanked after they saddled him with a midget named. Well, at first he was called the Little Bastard, and then eventually they called him Hornswoggle.
So they hit him with a midget, and everything went downhill from there.
Yeah, usually midgets like the kiss of death. Next up, one half of Harlem Heat, Booker T.
I don't really know much about.
Next up, one half of the famous Harlem Heat tag team, Booker T. Booker T is a decent talent. I'm trying to think of some other nice things about him. He did work that really awesome Best of 7 series with Chris Benoit.
Explanation? What do you mean there? Why are you having a tough time to say by nice things?
I don't know. I just don't know very much to say.
Fair enough.
He's a good wrestler, but to me, he just seemed to lack a lot of charisma. But that's just me.
Everybody's opinion is to their own.
I suppose. I mean, all that I really saw out of him were three things. He was in a tag team with well, not exactly his brother, but they made it sound like they were brothers, but they weren't. Two, the infamous line where he cut a program to Hulk Hogan. We're coming for you. Inward. Yeah. They covered his face and went off to the side like, oh shit, I should not have said that. And his
Be right back.
And his entrance theme in WWE, Can You Dig It, Sucka? Let's see. The second column of WCW, Perry Saturn. Formerly of Raven's Flock, he broke off because, well, I'm trying to remember why he left. He was definitely a decent talent, and he was also really good with his tag team, the Eliminators. And that's pretty much all that has to be said. I mean, it didn't really have much of a personality. It's like they were trying to make a personality, but they didn't really explain it all that well, and it just wasn't a whole lot of personality other than, you don't need to be in this flock. You can do good on your own. You don't need to be with this group. Anyway, moving on. Disco Inferno, one of the most original gimmicks of WCW. He was a disco dancing fool. Just whatever you do, don't put him in charge of creative. Long story short, when he was booking for TNA Wrestling, he wanted to put aliens in wrestling. The less said, the better. Moving on. Bret Hart's former tag team partner, Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Along with the British Bulldog, Jim Neidhart went along with Bret Hart to WCW. Both of which are family members. They're both brother-in-laws. Both of them powerhouses. British Bulldog also formerly of the British Bulldogs tag team. Of course, there was issues with the Dynamite Kid, so they had to split up. So Davey Boy Smith here had to go solo. Glacier.
I missed a few, so they had to take care of something.
That's alright. Glacier was probably the most expensive gimmick ever made by WCW. And he ultimately became nothing more than just a ripoff of a certain Mortal Kombat character. Gee, I wonder which one.
Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
With a name like that, you would expect he would go after the alien character from Killer Instinct that's basically made of ice.
If you ever have a chance, look up Glacier's entrance in WCW. And you'll see they tried really, really hard to push this guy, and nobody gave a shit because he didn't do a whole lot other than a couple of I wouldn't even say punches, just mostly karate kicks. He wasn't a good wrestler.
Before you continue, can you quickly fill me in on who I missed? Disco Inferno and Jim Neidhart.
Okay, Perry Saturn, formerly of Raven's Flock, he broke off and tried to break up the rest of Raven's Flock just because He just felt that Raven shouldn't have a group. Not really much of a personality, although they tried to give him a personality. Unfortunately, there's not much else to be said. Disco Inferno never put him in charge of creative. Otherwise, you get the situation with TNA Wrestling. He tried to get aliens put in the storyline.
Then he'll be as weird as sometimes soap operas get.
Yeah. Jim the Anvil Neidhart here was Bret Hart's former tag team partner. He was brought in along with the British Bulldog, along with Bret Hart, to WCW. They all went together because, well, they're all family.
Bring the family.
British Bulldog and Jim Neidhart are both married to two of Bret's sisters. By the way, Bret has a humongous family, even larger than my mom.
Wow.
No
I'm
joke.
learning today that a lot of families that go into wrestling.
But yeah, no joke. My mom is, she has, let's see, 4 sisters and 1 brother, and she was the oldest. Okay. Meanwhile, the Bret Hart clan, there was about, if I remember right, I think it was 8 brothers and 4 sisters.
God damn!
Yeah. Now, if I'm incorrect on that, please feel free to correct me in the chat. I'm trying to recall from the Wrestling with Shadows documentary, because Brad went into great detail about his family.
Anyway, back to Von Hammer.
Van Hammer, also formerly of Raven's Flock. This dude, before joining Raven's Flock, was known as Heavy Metal Van Hammer. He would carry a guitar with him to the ring, and he did jack shit with it. He didn't even try to play it. Kind of goes to show how boring a lot of these WCW personalities really are, especially as we go further on down the line.
Over somebody's head. Dude, come on! I would totally try and smash someone's head over with a guitar.
Well, so would a lot of other people. I mean, hell, Honky Tonk Man did it. Jeff Jarrett did it. It's a gimmick. Moving on down the list. This list right here is pretty small for whatever reason. Yuji Nagata was a Japanese import from New Japan Pro Wrestling, and
that was obvious.
Didn't really have a personality other than, oh, look at me, I'm Japanese. But he was a tough son of a bitch. That much was that was pretty plain. Larry Zbyszko. Larry Zbyszko was, I don't know if he was a former world champion, but he was a huge superstar back in the 70s and 80s. And he was brought into the WCW broadcast team. He was known as the Living Legend.
Okay, but apparently at some point he did wrestle at some point in WCW to be in this game.
Yeah, 1 match against Eric Bischoff.
Okay. And that somehow allows you to be in this game.
Yeah.
Okay? Your priorities, game.
Moving down the list, La Parka. Cruiserweight, and definitely a character. He was known as the chairman of WCW for one reason. He always carried a chair with him to the ring. Didn't really do anything with it, but he would stand on the chair and do that little wiggle dance as let me scroll backward, you'll see him do that little wiggle dance. Yeah, he would do that on top of the chair.
Okay, creepy.
Not bad enough. He would also play guitar with the chair.
Some demented version of a person trying to do Day of the Dead.
The other half of Harlem Heat, Stevie Ray. He would eventually join NWO Hollywood.
But at the time of this game, he hadn't yet.
Which I think was 1998. I could be wrong on that. Oh, never mind. There he is in his NWO t-shirt.
Okay.
Moving on. The list for WCW's talent. There are more superstars on this list, not list, but on the roster here. But I don't know who they are really. I'll explain why afterwards. Chris Jericho, who would eventually go on to the WWF. In fact, he was there in the next game, which was WrestleMania 2000. Chris Jericho, Lionheart. He is probably one of the best cruiserweights ever. Of course, he was so good, he eventually won the World Heavyweight Championships. That's how good he is.
So good, he can beat out somebody in the next class.
Also a cruiserweight who became a world champion, Eddie Guerrero. Eddie, he was good with psychology. He knew how to get a reaction out of you one way or another. That's why we loved him.
And the reaction he wants to.
For whatever reason, WCW referred to this guy as Psychosis, but his real name was Psychosis.
Oh, it sounds more badass to be referred to as Psychosis.
I guess. But yeah, it was something got lost in the localization from Mexico to the United States, so there you go. Another cruiserweight turned world champion, Rey Mysterio Jr. This little guy, he's fast. He's fast.
Is there
he's
another
very
Rey
agile.
Mysterio in wrestling? Just out of curiosity, because I keep hearing Rey Mysterio without the junior part.
When he went to the WWF, they removed the junior part. They also made him put the mask back on.
Okay.
And any bit of footage that he had in WCW without the mask, they blurred his face.
That's nice of them.
Yeah. But at one point, he did lose his mask in a match, officially. It was either a hair versus mask or a title versus mask, and Rey Mysterio lost, which meant he had to unmask, and that meant it meant he had to go without the mask from then on.
Because the mask is part of the luchador scene.
Pretty much.
I remember. Yeah, I know. I once read about a priest who's also a luchador who literally wears his mask during mass.
Psychosis also lost his mask at one point, as well as Juventud Guerrera, as you can see here. He already lost his mask at the time. I'm not sure what exactly his gimmick was, but I do know what this other fellow's gimmick was. Dean Malenko, the master of 1,000 holds.
Well, this guy knows a lot of holds.
He knows a lot of submission holds. He knows a lot of wrestling maneuvers. I don't know if he was a legit tough guy, but he was a calculating individual. Just wherever you do, don't book him in a catch-as-catch-can match. Because he don't understand the rules of that type of match.
I don't even know what kind of what you're talking about, because I never heard of this kind of match.
Catch-as-catch-can was a match that it was invented for one particular pay-per-view. And the idea was that you could never leave the ring, ever. First person who left the ring, lost.
until you give up. And apparently this guy left the ring at some point to do something, and somebody pointed out and yelled him, "You lose!"
Yeah. Dean Malenko had he went into this little bit of ring psychology, which is typical. You take a little bit of a beating, then you go outside the ring to recover. But when he did that, he forgot that he wasn't supposed to leave the ring. So the match was over in less than a minute.
Dumbass!
Yeah. Ultimo Dragon, another cruiserweight legend. This fellow is he is a unified world champion. What I mean by that is that he has, at one point he carried about, I think, 8 championship belts with him to the ring. Because he had
God damn it!
Yeah, he unified all the championships in Japan. It was kind of nuts.
Looks like definitely like a cross between a luchador and some sort of Japanese craziness.
Chavo Guerrero Jr. Oh, pardon me. He is he's the nephew of Eddie Guerrero.
I was going to ask if he was related to Eddie.
He is. Eddie's his uncle. And I think he won the Cruiserweight Championship at one point. He is a gifted athlete. Alex Koch in the Twitch chat reminds me that it was Eddie Guerrero versus Juventud Guerrera, which prompted Juventud to lose his mask. Just want to point that out. Chavo would get saddled with a bunch of really, really weird and or lame gimmicks throughout his career. Kind of sad, really.
That's too bad.
It is kind of bad. And finally, Das Wunderkind, Alex Wright. This fellow would dance on his way to the ring, and for whatever reason, the fans hated his guts. In fact, if you listen closely during his matches on Monday Nitro and sometimes Thunder, you would actually hear the gay F word chant. People really hated him.
And that guy's dancing and that guy's dance sort of seems like he's failing at doing a jig.
I actually remember him taking the Cruiserweight Championship from Chris Jericho on a taped Monday Nitro that I attended in my hometown.
Cool.
They came to West Virginia, and I got to see the match. And Alex won the belt like right out of nowhere during a series of attacks from Chris Jericho. Jericho was just waylaying Alex with a bunch of whip to the corner and clotheslines and repeat, and just right out of nowhere, Alex won the belt. I'm like, what? Not many people liked the result.
Even though okay, then can we see the rest so we know why you don't know these people?
These are people who they are meant to be real people, but they couldn't get the licenses for these people. More than likely, they're individuals from New Japan Pro Wrestling, so they had to have their appearances changed and their names changed to obscure who they really are.
Oh,
so we have Aki-Man, some kind of superhero. We have Shogun, Executioner, Dr. Frank, Jekyll. I suspect this guy might be Dr. Death Steve Williams. I could be wrong.
I'm not trying to make you. I just want to know why. I don't need you to try and guess who they're supposed to be.
I bring that up because Kazi and Yellow Jacket Guy want me to try and play the game as Dr. Death. So we have a ninja,
And-
we have a guy named Minchi, we have Murkowski. I'm not sure what the hell that character's supposed to be like. And he's got like a
More
humongous
probably
handlebar
Japanese guys
mustache.
they fake through to try and get in this game.
That is one of the derpiest faces I've ever seen.
Derp!
Dr. Ken. Kimchi.
That's a pun and you know it.
Hawk Hana. You think this guy might be a sumo wrestler?
Knowing New Japan, anything is possible.
Okay, I'm gonna get up for a second. I gotta go get the tissues because my nose is getting stopped up. Give me about 1 second.
And that's the list, folks. Get ready to watch him fight using some of these nuts.
Carrie, you still with us? I think he's left us.
Oh.
Well,
hello?
you did want to go through
Hello.
every
Hello.
person. You still here, Carrie?
Yeah, I was hoping I didn't bore you to death.
Okay, so I can't have anything open, otherwise Discord doesn't get connection. That's not Parsec.
That is strange.
Let me just try a complete reset of Discord.
Usually helps.
Okay, we do not want interference. We're just going to have a simple match.
So, there's only expedition and single match in this game? Or there's story? Well,
There's
like-
no story mode, if that's what you're asking, but there is
I
a...
I was asking championships, not story mode.
There are championship, yes.
Cool.
However, there are no story modes. That wouldn't be implemented until WrestleMania 2000.
Wait. When did the one you were playing, the last one you were playing came out?
The one I was playing originally was the game that came after WrestleMania 2000.
Dang. Okay, now it makes sense. Wow, your game somewhat glitched because I think his pants went invisible. His legs went invisible for a moment.
Okay. Testing. Can you hear me?
Testes?
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Test.
Test.
1,
I can
2,
hear you.
3.
1, 2, 3.
4, 5, 6.
7, 8, 9.
I can hear you.
10.
I'm confused.
There was some issues with Discord, and Kiri had to go fix it.
No. Let me finish. I'm confused. Which one are you?
Which one am I? I'm Bret Hart, the Hitman. I'm the guy in pink.
Pink and black. Okay.
Because you know real men wear pink.
Real men are bitches like you're making this guy.
That's too close to the ropes. Maybe this one will be the one. Will he tap? Will he reach the ropes?
Let me do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the excellence of execution. Put the difficulty on hard mode. I'll think about it.
Have Reese's soul crushed.
Let's go ahead and put it on hard. Let's take the replay off. You don't really need the referee visually there. We can just go with the counts.
What does realism do?
I don't know. This was before we had entrance themes.
So, interest, you mean in the games or in general?
In the games.
Okay, that's the guy. Okay, I take it back with the graphics. Corey's titties in this. Punch, 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 punch. Goldberg's making mincemeat out of you, dude.
Punch.
Goldberg is. Whoa! Did you actually hit him in the balls?
Yes, I did.
Dude, the countdown! Countdown!
It's the
15.
final countdown.
No, that would have been the countdown. You both lose and you're both dumbasses for staying out of the ring that long.
Well, let's see. Billy Goldie here is suffering from a bit of a head problem.
Yeah, and this game makes him look. Yeah. By looking at his face close up, I take back everything I said about the East graphics supposedly looking better. Bill Goldberg's face can. This game can find some children. Bill Goldberg's wiping the mat with you.
Diamond Dallas Page showing insult to injury by using Goldberg's own finisher, the jackhammer. So it took about 7 diamond cutters to take out Goldberg.